Alright, so now we'll take a look at the software on the Galaxy S2. Starting off with lock screen. As you can see, it turns into a little picture for you, which you can just drag away in whatever direction you prefer. One interesting thing that Samsung has done is when you have a missed call or a message, an unread message, you get little tabs over here on the left and on the right, which you can just swipe into view, and that unlocks the phone straight into the messaging app or your call register, so you can actually see whose missed call you've actually missed. Now coming into the home screens, you have this overview, pretty much like HTC Leap. They were the first ones to introduce this in Android, which is basically just a pinch to zoom gesture, and then you can pick whichever home screen you like. You get 7 home screens. It defaults to sending you to the first one, which is on the very far left. You can't choose things like having the 4th home screen as your default one. So that's a neat option which we might have preferred, but not a big deal in any way. And we've just populated them with a bunch of options here, so we might as well just take you through them. Obviously you can set up folders. This is not a new thing for Android. Coming over here to the side, you've got these dual clock widgets. You also have this little widget where you can have, it takes up a quarter of the screen and you can just have little notes for yourself. Then you have the Games Hub, the Reader Hub, Music Hub, and Social Hub. We didn't actually find these to be particularly useful. Not any of them. The Social Hub basically just duplicates functionality that you can get with the default Gmail application or the Gtalk application. We didn't really see any reason to use it. Same kind of goes for the email application that Samsung has on the phone. You can use them, obviously, but we just kind of find the default Android ones are just better. So here's your Games Hub. You've got the social games here. As an overview, and then you've got premium games. Presumably these will also be the ones that make better use of the added graphical horsepower that you have on this device. As you can see, there's Real Football HD, GT Racing, Assassin's Creed, more three-dimensional games that will be using the graphics power, but we didn't find anything particularly appealing. Here's one interesting thing that we liked. It's not particularly novel, but we like to use it. You can turn your contacts into links. So, for example, you can turn a contact into a multifunctional link where you can call them, send them a message or whatever, or you can turn them into a direct link into messaging, such as with this one, or a direct link to call them. So, one tap and you call whoever you want to speak with. Then you also have things like this active applications overview, which gives you literally the count of active applications, takes you into a task manager. Here you can queue applications, clean up the RAM, which will never take to use more than half a gigabyte. There's always been a bunch of space, so this isn't really necessary, but it's there if you want to use it. Also, if you hold down the home button, you get this app switcher, which gives you the latest few apps that you've used. Task manager sends you to the same menu as the program monitor. So moving along, battery overview. This is kind of an Android thing. Gives you an overview of how your battery has been discharging over the last however many hours. Looking into tweaking widgets and moving them around the screen, it's pretty easy. Quite a few phones you have to go to the very edge to get to the next home screen. Not so with this one. It's pretty easy to transition them, but Samsung still has a nice little trick for itself, which is that if you move the phone, it actually moves through home screens, which isn't that great to demonstrate with a still camera. But moving the phone around uses the accelerometer. It recognizes that the phone has moved. It has panned, so it moves to the next home screen. How this can be used quickly is if you know that 3 home screens mean a 90-degree turn this way, for example, you can jump an icon from the first home screen to the fourth home screen very quickly. So it's a little bit of a gimmick, but it's quite cool that Samsung has provided it. Which actually brings us to another little feature that I want to show you, again to do with motion. Here's the gallery application. Taking a look at your photos. So now if you can pinch to zoom just as you can on any other phone, but a new feature that Samsung has added is that if you put 2 fingers down, you can now zoom by bringing the phone up and zoom out by bringing it down. So this is just a tilt zoom sort of thing. Again, this uses the accelerometer. It's actually quite cool. It isn't as much of a gimmick as it might initially seem, and we kind of enjoy using it. We don't know that it's necessarily quicker or more functional than pinch to zoom, but that's probably because we're used to the pinch to zoom feature, whereas we're not used to using this one yet. So maybe over time we'll just grow, used to it, and we'll learn to love it and like it. But yes, it's really quite an impressive thing, and the processor is terrific. It just there's pretty much no slowdown at all when you're going through. And these are 8 megapixel images that we're going through and taking a look at here, and they're being processed without delay. That actually reminds us we can take a look at 1080p video playback, which is very easy to do because this phone records 1080p. So here we go. Not the most active of scenes yet, but the frame rate is extremely smooth, and there's basically there is no stutter, there is no slowdown. It's pretty much perfect. And we'll also just take you to the browser, take a look at that. Browser performance in terms of navigation has been pretty exemplary. Scrolling up and down, pinch to zoom, that 2-finger tilt zoom option is also here. Everything has worked brilliantly. There's nothing to complain about in terms of performance. The only issue we had is that the actual rendering when you're at this kind of zoom level isn't perfect. You get quite a few jagged lines, and that could be improved. But it's software, so it could actually be improved in an update, depending on how optimistic you are. So yeah, here's scrolling. If we transition between portrait and landscape, happens pretty much instantly. Pinch to zoom, again, it's just so smooth. And if we do the tilt zoom feature as well, everything just works beautifully.